The warning wasn't sharp or threatening. It was quiet, almost gentle. We stood beneath the twin moons of Eloria, their pale light reflecting off the crystal towers around us. The alien princess faced the horizon, not me. Her presence felt heavy, like gravity itself had learned her name. "Humans never endure the night here," she said softly. "Not the silence. Not the truth." I didn't answer right away. The air shimmered with strange energy, and somewhere far below, the city hummed like a living heart. I had crossed galaxies to stand beside her, not knowing why, only knowing I had to. "I'm not here to endure," I said at last. "I'm here to stay." She turned, surprised. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with power, but with something fragile. "You don't understand what the night does," she whispered. "It strips masks. It reveals what even royalty hides." "Then let it," I replied. As darkness fell, the world seemed to listen. The stars burned brighter, and the city quieted. We sat together on the cold stone floor, not touching, yet closer than I'd ever been to anyone. The night pressed in, asking questions without words. She spoke of loneliness that spanned centuries. I spoke of a small blue planet that felt empty without meaning. Time slowed, bending around our shared silence. When dawn finally arrived, its light painted her features soft and real, not a princess, not a legend, just someone tired of standing alone. "You're still here," she said, almost disbelieving. I smiled. "I told you. I wasn't afraid." For the first time, she smiled back, and the universe felt quieter, as if it approved. Morning on Eloria didn't arrive like it did on Earth. It unfolded slowly, as if the light itself needed permission. The twin moons faded, and the sky warmed into shades I didn't have names for. She watched the horizon, silent. The princess, no, she, looked different now. Less distant. Less guarded. As if the night had loosened something locked deep inside her. "The night usually takes something," she said. "Strength. Memory. Hope. And this one?" I asked. She hesitated. "This one gave something back." We walked through the upper gardens, where floating petals drifted like forgotten thoughts. Her people bowed as we passed, but their eyes lingered on me with quiet confusion. Humans didn't walk here after surviving the night. Humans weren't supposed to belong. "Stay," she said suddenly, the words softer than a command. "Not as a guest. Not as a challenge." I stopped. "As what, then?" She faced me fully. In the daylight, her eyes no longer glowed, they reflected. Fear. Desire. Possibility. As the one who saw me when I wasn't a princess. The city pulsed around us, alive and listening. I felt the weight of galaxies in her gaze. Staying meant becoming part of a world that could never truly be mine. Leaving meant returning to a life that suddenly felt unfinished. "I don't need to belong to your world," I said. "Just to you." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she reached for my hand, not with royal certainty, but with careful hope. "The next night," she whispered, "will be harder." I tightened my grip. "Then we'll face it together." Above us, the stars shifted, as if making room for something new. The second night arrived faster than I expected. On Eloria, darkness wasn't just the absence of light, it was a presence. The air grew heavier, as if the planet itself leaned closer to listen. The princess stood beside me at the edge of the sanctuary chamber, her fingers tense in mine. "This night tests bonds," she said quietly. "Not courage. Not endurance. Truth." The chamber doors sealed behind us. The stars above shifted into unfamiliar patterns, forming reflections of memories rather than constellations. I felt something brush against my thoughts, images of Earth, of loneliness, of every moment I'd felt unseen. She gasped softly. "It's showing you my past." I saw her standing alone through centuries of celebrations that meant nothing, alliances built on fear, admirers who loved the crown but never the soul beneath it. Her strength had always been mistaken for coldness. "I didn't choose this life," she said, her voice unsteady. "But it chose me." I stepped closer, resisting the pull of the visions. "You don't have to face it alone anymore." The night reacted instantly. The chamber trembled, testing the space between us. This was the moment she'd feared, the moment humans always broke. Not from pain, but from intimacy that demanded honesty. "What if I fail you?" she asked. I lifted her hand to my chest, letting her feel my racing heart. "Then we learn. Together." The vision softened. The pressure eased. The night, disappointed or satisfied, began to retreat. The stars returned to their places, quieter now, almost respectful. When silence settled, she leaned her forehead against mine, not as a princess, not as a warning, but as someone choosing trust. "You're changing the rules," she whispered. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe they were never meant to stay the same." Outside, the city lights brightened, unaware that something ancient had just shifted. And for the first time, the night had let us win. After the second night, Eloria felt different. Not brighter. Not calmer. Just, aware. Wherever we went, the air seemed to pause, as if the city itself was watching us decide something it couldn't name. The princess, Elira, walked beside me in silence through halls older than human history. "There is a reason no one stays," she said finally. "The nights don't just test us. They demand a price." We stopped before a chamber sealed with living light. I could feel a hum beneath my feet, like a heartbeat. "What kind of price?" I asked. She met my eyes, and for the first time, her strength didn't hide her fear. "If you remain after the third night, Eloria will bind you. You won't age as humans do. You won't fully belong to Earth again." I thought of my world, its noise, its rush, its endless feeling of almost belonging. Then I looked at her, someone born into eternity, desperate to feel chosen. "And you?" I asked. "What do you lose?" "My crown," she said softly. "My people believe love weakens rulers. If I choose you openly, I rule differently, or not at all." The chamber's light pulsed, waiting. I stepped closer. "You warned me from the beginning." I stayed anyway. She reached for me, hesitating, then resting her hand against my chest as if memorizing my presence. "This is the last moment you can turn back without consequence." Beyond the crystal walls, dawn began to rise, slow, deliberate, final. I covered her hand with mine. "I didn't cross the stars to survive," I said. "I came to choose." Her breath caught. Not in relief. In understanding. As the first light touched the city, the chamber doors began to open. The third night was coming. And with it, everything we were afraid to want. The third night did not arrive with darkness. It arrived with stillness. Eloria fell silent as the living light of the chamber wrapped around us, warm and unfamiliar. The air no longer pressed or tested. Instead, it waited, patient, ancient, curious. This was the night that bound choices into fate. Elira stood before me without her crown. Her radiance dimmed, not weakened, humanized. "This night asks only one thing," she said. "Who do you choose to be, when nothing forces you anymore?" The light reached into me, not my body, but my intent. I felt Earth loosening its hold, not erased, just no longer pulling. Time slowed, reshaped, offering a path that didn't exist before. "I choose to stay," I said. "Not because I'm bound. Because I want to wake up where you are." The chamber answered. The light softened, weaving around us like a promise instead of a chain. Elira's breath trembled. "Then I choose to rule differently," she said. "Not above my people. Among them." The city awakened. Not with alarms or fear, but with resonance. Towers shimmered. The sky shifted. Somewhere deep within Eloria, something old accepted something new. At dawn, we stood before her people. No crown. No decree. Just two beings who had faced the night and refused to lose themselves. They didn't kneel. They watched. And then, slowly, they understood. Later, on the balcony where this began, the twin moons rose once more. Elira leaned against me, no longer guarding her solitude. You know, she said softly, the night no longer frightens me. I smiled. It doesn't need to. Above us, the stars held steady. Not because fate demanded it. But because, for once, love had been chosen, freely, without fear.